you totally did not even remember existed, and then all of a sudden, like, core memory unlocked, where you're like,
yeah.
Big one for me that recently came was
TNMP, the Nerdy Misfit Podcast, with your hosts, Connor O'Neill and Matthew Hughes.
What is up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Nerdy Misfit Podcast.
Hello. It's us. Surprise, surprise, your hosts.
Your host with the most. So, if you're new around here, we post a podcast every Wednesday, usually in the AM, Eastern Standard Time.
9 a.m.-ish.
And yeah, if you're new, subscribe, hit the bell. It helps us out a lot. Drop a like, share it around, and also join our Discord. It'll be in the link tree down below. So for today, we thought we'd change things up a bit.
Nostalgia.
Yeah, we'll hit the nostalgia. I think big feels for a lot of people. We have done a couple anime episodes as of late.
What?
Just a few. Now, this one's still gonna have some anime related
Ish, but not too much.
but not to the same point.
Yeah.
And if you've read the title and or see the thumbnail, I'm sure you can see
what the title is.
Potentially where we're going. But we're going down some memory lane.
Back to the early 2000s.
When things were simpler for us.
For us.
I mean, they could be complicated for some people, but for us, times are simple.
Pretty simple, elementary school times.
And if you guys don't know, we are 90s kids. So this is going to be heavily based off of 90s /
early 2000s. Yeah.
So without further ado, the episode is toys
From our childhood.
Favorite toys? Least favorite toys? I'm going to be honest, I probably wouldn't even remember the least favorite toys.
Yeah, I don't know either. So let's go right into the big hitters here.
Into the big hitters. Okay, do we want to target a certain age? Like, I'm assuming we're hitting the age in which we actually remember using said thing.
Yeah, I mean, like, I figure, like...
Because technically on some of these lists we've looked through to get some brainstorming done is we do have stuff like Game Boys. Which, if you're...
Okay, so let's break it down here then. We'll start with consoles.
Start with consoles? So we have talked about consoles before. So growing up, a huge Nintendo kid, Nintendo family in general. We had an N64, Game Boy Advance. We had the GameCube, and then eventually into the Wii and into the DS, etc.
Yeah.
But if we're going pre-DS, then we had me and my brothers Game Boy Advance, and N64 we played, and GameCube.
That's fair.
And all the expected hitters, we played Pokemon Stadium, Mario Party, Mario 64, Donkey Kong 64, the Pokemon games on the Game Boy. I'm trying to think of any other big Game Boy games we played a lot of. And honestly, like the Pokemon are definitely just ones that had the most playtime.
Makes sense.
No surprises there.
No, gosh, no.
I think there was, I don't remember which specific Rayman, but we had a Rayman for the N64 as well as a Rayman on the Game Boy, which were pretty good. A lot of the Marios, Super Marios. I think also classics, Tetris. I'm sure there was a pinball or something in there as well.
Yeah.
But any how about you for consoles?
For me, I didn't really... I think I had a Nintendo when I was younger, but I didn't really get to play too much because of my brothers.
You have two older brothers.
Yeah, I have two older brothers.
And I have two younger brothers.
Yeah,
so it's a very different dynamic we're coming from.
So it makes sense why you got to play the video games and why I didn't.
I see.
But yeah, so it was Nintendo, and then I eventually got a Game Boy Color. First game was Pokemon Silver that I played, and I played the crud out of that.
Yeah, definitely played the crud out of that as well.
Pokemon Yellow, I think I got eventually as well. So those are like my two base Pokemon games. And then eventually I got the DS, which had it was the older DS. You had like the Game Boy Advance port in the back
bottom,
still.
Yeah. Was it like the blue and silver DS, or was it the lights when they switched to that more square design?
I had the fold one, so I didn't have like the box one. I had the one.
No, there's so the original DS was like navy, like this navy blue, or not even navy, more like a royal blue.
Yeah.
And a silver, and they didn't even fold completely Like it folded over top of itself, but they didn't line up perfectly.
I think I had the light then.
Okay, because I think the light was the first one where the Game Boy Advance game kind of hung out a bit. It didn't even fully go in.
Yep.
But it did fold
all the way
properly,
in.
like a folded like a book.
I didn't have too many Game Boy Advance games. I had the one I can remember playing the most of was Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire.
I had a Harry Potter game too, but I think it was 1.
Dang.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Jeez Louise.
We had me and my brothers I had Pokemon Ruby.
Yep.
Which played a ton of for the Game Boy Advance. Had Pokemon Fire Red.
Okay. It's another solid fun game.
Also played so much of that. I remember I think Fire Red was a Christmas gift, and me and my brother, he got Leaf Green, and we were playing from the moment we got it at the Christmas party. We already had I already had a Charizard. I was just cranking through it.
That's crazy.
I think those were the games where the original starters got their big recharge moves, like Blast Burn and so cool games. Very nostalgic games for sure.
I had a Game Boy. Sorry, I had the GameCube as well. That was my first legitimate console and not my handheld.
Like a TV console.
The games I played the most there was Crash Nitro Karts.
Crash Nitro Karts.
So
nice.
like a just Crash's version of Mario Kart.
Yeah,
basically.
for sure.
Like that's the easiest way to describe it. I think I beat that game once or twice.
Nice.
Otherwise, I played a game called Dead to Rights a lot. I played the Shadow the Hedgehog game.
Okay, yeah.
That was out. Those are the 3 that
really stand out
the most. I had a bunch of others, but
I played NHL 2002 for the Game Boy Advance.
Okay.
I played a lot of that, and then on the GameCube was NHL 2005 that I played a lot of, as well as Tiger Woods PGA Tour 2005, I believe.
Nice.
Played a lot of those sports games. We had Pokemon, I believe, Pokemon Stadium's N64, Pokemon Coliseum is the GameCube. We played that. That's what the Shadow Pokemon.
Yeah.
Zelda 4 Swords on N64. We had Ocarina of Time. Not that we really knew what the heck we were doing when we were that young.
Yeah.
Obviously now, it's very different when you go to play a video game than when you're a kid, like a young kid. You're just having fun, but you're not actually progressing that far in the story.
You're just having fun. You're doing the same circles over and over.
Yeah, exactly.
Again.
You're just killing the same enemy over and over again. You're not actually progressing too far in the story. And then you play it when you actually understand the game, and you're just like, I never even got to this point.
Like playing Pokemon when you're a really young kid and you can't get past the tree, so you just keep running around in the grass and you just keep going.
Over leveling?
Yeah.
Pokemon, at least, it kind of, and we've talked about this before.
It railroads you.
It's very railroad heavy game, which is obviously nice to see in the newer game. It's not as heavy on that, where you can kind of go wherever you want for the most part.
Yeah.
But they were very beginner friendly, and they are obviously targeted towards kids.
Plain and simple.
At the end of the day.
Yeah.
Other big ones for the GameCube was Super Smash Bros. Melee.
Okay.
On N64, we also had not Crash, but we had Diddy Kong Racing.
Nice. Okay.
That was a pretty fun game where you could actually fly in an airplane as one of the vehicles. Because you could be in a hovercraft, a plane, or a car. On certain tracks. Certain tracks you're only allowed to be one of the vehicles, and some you were allowed to pick from them.
Okay. Makes sense.
That was a fun game. Spyro. Played a lot of Spyro.
Okay.
We had this one Marvel fighting game.
Marvel vs. Capcom or Marvel's Ultimate Alliance?
I would have to look it up. Let's look up. GameCube Marvel fighting game.
It's crazy because I'm like, well...
Rise of the Imperfects.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I'm familiar. Not by much, but I know the title.
Played a good chunk of that. It was ridiculous because it was like a 3D. It wasn't like the 2D platform fighter. It was a 3D space fighter. And I just remember, obviously, I played a lot of Spider-Man. If you're new around here, Spider-Man's one of my favorite superheroes.
That's another game I played on the GameCube.
So
the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man one. Yeah.
And you would just grab something and chuck it from Narnia at someone. Like you could play. There were some characters you can play where you didn't have to go anywhere near them. You could just be on the side, like the other side of the arena, and just use stuff
things.
around there and throw things.
Insane.
Which is very annoying. I also played a Batman game on the GameCube as well.
Didn't know there was Batman game on the...
I think it was called The Rise of something.
Not sure.
Rise of Sin Tzu. And it was a fun game because not too many of the story games could I play alongside one of my brothers, where this one you could play together.
Okay.
So like I could be Batman and my brother could be Nightwing.
Oh, that's
or
cool.
I could be Batgirl, my brother can be Nightwing.
Yeah.
Vice versa. And there was also a Robin. So you could
play various characters.
Pick who you want. There was always a fight to who be Nightwing because everyone thought Nightwing was the coolest.
Nightwing is the coolest.
I mean, you're not wrong. And it had like actual combos. I remember like that was a game where I tried to remember specific fight combos to do more damage and stuff. I think I went back to try and play it and it looked so bad. But I remember it being like epic. This game was when I played Arkham Asylum for the first time.
Yeah.
I was like, it brought back memories of playing this Batman game for me.
Okay.
Where I was like, it kind of hit that nostalgic note, but just on a whole new level because obviously the Arkham games were incredible.
Mm-hmm. See, I don't want to go too far as being like, PS3 being nostalgic because I feel like that is...
I mean...
That's like borderline...
It came out in like 2007 or 2008, I think.
I guess, yeah.
I'll just... Maybe even 2006.
Do you think
release date.
PS3's that or...
2006, November 11.
Okay, do you classify that as nostalgia or...
I mean, for us, it definitely is.
Dang, we're so old. That was like 20 years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
Almost 20 years ago, 18 years. But, okay, so then I'll go off about that. Yeah, the PS3 was like my first... Like, I shared the GameCube with my brothers, but PS3 was the first console like I bought myself and everything.
And you played like... I'm assuming some big games, some big hitters.
Yeah, I played some Arkham Asylum, Arkham City.
Incredible games.
Great games for the time, for sure. I played a crud ton of Skylanders.
Skylanders.
I freaking loved Skylanders, man. Like, I love the Toys to Life games. I played the other ones a little bit. Like, I played a bit of Disney Infinity. There was 3 different versions. There was, like, Disney Infinity and then 2.0 and 3.0. 2.0 was Marvel. 3.0 was Star Wars.
Wasn't Injustice also on
Injustice
at that time?
Was on PS3. And I played a couple Mortal Kombat games, but of the NetherRealms games, like, Injustice was great.
Loved it.
Fun game. I think, too... It's cool because then eventually the comics came out to like for the lead up to the game, which was really weird because the comics came out.
It was such a popular game that
people wanted Mythos because it took place like, well, it was like whatever. The game happened and then you realize that there's like 5 years of lore.
Yeah, they started to fill in the lore and
which was crazy because like Damian Wayne was Nightwing during that. Hal Jordan was a Yellow Lantern. There was a couple different Batmans. Joker was dead, but then Joker wasn't dead, and like. Whole bunch of things, but
PS3 was my introduction to online gaming.
Makes sense.
Where I played a lot of sports games, NHL, mostly NHL, golf games, and the occasional like FIFA. But I played probably every year's worth of NHL, and that was like a game that me and my friends would play a ton. Mm-hmm. Like whenever we hung out, we would play that. Call of Duty. Big one, obviously. Even now,
goes with
people playing Call of Duty, but at that time it was like Modern Warfare 4 or Modern Warfare, and then Modern Warfare 2. Modern Warfare is COD 4. That's why my brain was mixing up. But yeah, Modern Warfare, the original Modern Warfare.
Yep.
World at War and Modern Warfare 2, kind of in that time area.
I think I had the first Black Ops on.
Yeah, that would have been there too.
Yeah.
Right after MW2.
Yep.
What it was, and I played the Batman games as well. Trying to think if there was anything else. There were definitely other games I played, but
there's a couple Spider-Man games I played. I think the Amazing Spider-Man had a PS3 game. There was like
I never played any of the Spider-Man games.
No?
I remember playing one on like the PlayStation 1 or 2 at a friend's house.
Okay.
Similarly, never owned any of the WWE or SmackDown games, like any of the WWE games, SmackDown versus Raw or whatever they were. But I always played them at friends' houses.
That makes sense. There's another series of games I played on the PS3 that I was obsessed with for a while, and that was Lego games.
Lego games, yeah. Well, I mean, which are huge now. There's so many crazy Lego games. Bigger,
but like for the PS3, you had your Lord of the Rings, you had your Pirates of the Caribbean to start, which just took clips from the movies and like dub them and stuff like that originally. Like you'd play through the stories, and there was like the original trilogy. Star Wars Force Awakens got one. I mean, that was 2015.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy that it came out 10 years ago.
Yeah, about 10 years ago. But otherwise, there was like the Lego Batman 1 and 2 and 3. There was the Lego Marvel. Like Lego Marvel was like the biggest Lego game at that time because that had like the most playable characters. Lego Batman 3 was also on PS3, and that was a fun one because you started going to Lantern Planet. So I remember being obsessed with that for a bit.
It's valid.
I'm trying to think. There's like Lego Indiana Jones. Bunch of the big properties, basically.
Yeah. I was never into racing games, so I never played like Gran Turismo, which is a big one for PlayStation.
Never played those, but that reminded me. I used to play a lot of Need for Speed Underground on the GameCube.
Nice.
Yeah, I played a little bit of Need for Speed games. So
played Tony Hawk on the Game Boy Advance.
I played Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2 on the GameCube as well.
Tony Hawk games were fire.
They were great back in the day.
Okay, so
anyways, moving away from consoles now.
Yeah, away from video games. Let us know what the first console you got, first handheld you got if you got one. Some of your favorite games, and let us know. Yeah, just let us know which ones you got and which ones were your favorite. Moving on to more, I guess, your typical toys.
We'll go to nerd toys, obviously. So
yeah, we'll start with nerd toys.
Bakuman?
No, we can't. That's too new. No, it's too new. You have to go further back. So
okay.
we go all the way back. Pokemon cards.
Okay, so we're starting with TCGs.
Doesn't even have to be TCG. Just things that came from TV shows a kid would watch.
Oh, okay.
Right? So we got
Pokemon cards.
Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon, not an anime when you're a kid.
No, just a cartoon.
Maybe now people might know, like kids might know, but back in the day, that
was nothing.
I feel like in the West, you had no idea what an anime was. As far as you were concerned, Pokemon was the same as SpongeBob. I feel like we should give ourselves some credit. I definitely noticed a difference.
Yeah.
Where there was obviously a story ongoing in a lot of even though Pokemon is episodic, but there's always there's
an overarching story
of going to the gyms and whatnot. So, but you can always tell there was something different about Yu-Gi-Oh, Beyblade. That's why they were the good show. That's why they were always better, in my opinion.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
For me, it was like I think for us, a lot of the TV shows would have been on YTV.
Yep, that's where I watched like Zatch Bell.
And it'd be at like 12 o'clock. In that 12 lunchtime range was when it was like Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, Beyblade. Like the three of them were like back to back to back. So that's how I'm basing this off of. So Pokemon cards. I'm assuming you have Pokemon cards.
Yeah.
Pokemon games, Pokemon cards. Did you have any Pokemon action figures or anything?
Didn't have any Pokemon action figures, no.
I don't recall having many Pokemon figures. I remember having a Pokeball that had like a gold Mew in it. Could have been related to the first movie. Not sure.
Probably was.
But it was like more of like a shelf piece, if you will.
Yeah. It had like the Mew was like that thick.
Yeah, it was like a thick, fake gold looking.
Yeah.
And it had like a stand in the Pokeball for it.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I didn't have any other. Like Pokemon cards is definitely the biggest, other than the games.
Did you watch any of the Pokemon movies when you were younger?
Oh yeah. First Pokemon, Pokemon 2000.
Great film.
Those are definitely, in terms of like nostalgic, those two are the biggest for me.
So yeah, you had Mewtwo, which is the first one. I mean, Ash coming to stone, Pikachu crying is
all
like,
the Pokemon that's looking
everyone,
sad.
Yeah, everyone's like fighting each other, and then it gets to the point where everyone's just like, I think there's like the Psyduck just smack or Meowth or someone's just smacking each other back and forth, and they're like crying because they just want to give up, but they keep fighting.
I think those are the Pikachus.
I think it's the Pikachus too.
Yeah.
And then Pokemon 2000, which is by far my favorite Pokemon movie. Just Lugia, the three legendary birds, Slowking narrating the entire movie.
It's something.
That was fun. Pokemon 3 is the weird one. That's the unknown. Like, there's a little girl who has Entei.
Yes, and Entei's like becomes her father figure
and then
or something.
Ash's mom becomes the mom of this little girl, and there's just a lot of unknowns and just really weird CGI, and you're like, why is
old
this
CGI?
Thing? Yeah. And then I can actually name a good
one. Yeah. We know you've seen all the Pokemon.
No, I'm just like going through. I'm like, what is number 4? I think number 4 was the Jirachi one, but anyways.
Definitely the first two are iconic with the Lugia and the Mewtwo in the first one. A whole generation molded by those ones.
Agreed.
Then we have Yu-Gi-Oh, so we'll keep it in the TCG. I played tons of Yu-Gi-Oh. It's been a game that has been on, off throughout my entire life.
Yeah.
Even if it is a completely crazy, complicated, annoying zero format level game now, but it holds a special place in my heart for sure.
That's understandable.
Never had a dual disc though.
If only.
My brother had a dual disc from 5Ds.
Okay.
But it wasn't as cool as the original dual disc because the original dual disc actually flipped out where you had to manually do it for the 5D or for the GX one.
Yeah.
But I mean, in like lightsaber levels, it was like that cool. You know, you're like, that thing's sick.
Yeah.
Not that it was practical for dueling at all.
Gosh, no.
Not safe for your cards. Can use sleeves to protect your cards. Yeah. Stuff like that. Then we have Digimon. Did you have a Digivice?
Did not have a Digivice.
I never had.
I knew of Digimon growing up, but I never got into it.
Okay. I never had a first gen Digivice, but I had the second gen Digivice.
Okay.
Which was like a little bit bigger. And those were just, I remember bringing that one to school, and just the most ridiculous thing is just a bunch of kids going like this with their Digivice. And the way you like connected, you had to physically like push them together to if you wanted to battle or trade or do anything with your friends. But it was a cool little thing. Definitely spent so much time on that as a kid. Yeah.
Beyblades?
It's funny that Digimon never... It feels like the forgotten one.
Yeah.
A lot of the times. But if you ever go back and watch the anime, from a story perspective, it's one of the better ones. Like, and like the music composition, like it might be
remade it, didn't they?
It might be one of the best older anime for kids.
Dang.
If you go back and watch it, which is kind of funny. Anyways, you were saying the next one would be...
The next one I think would be...
Beyblade.
Beyblade, right?
Yep. And have you seen a Beyblade nowadays?
No. I see them in stores.
The quality compared to like what a Beyblade was when we had Beyblades...
Completely different.
Oh, night and day.
Yeah.
A Beyblade now, if you hold it, you're like, well, this is hefty. This has got some weight to it. You hold a Beyblade back in the day, it's just plastic.
Yeah.
With like the tiniest metal. Oh, but they were fun and they were so customizable.
Yeah, I think that was the best part about it is you were able to get 3 or 4 and just customize the
like everything
apart,
from the bottom to the metal to the top and then to the bit beast that you would put on top of your Beyblade. That was all customizable. And remember, obviously they pushed heavy like in the anime. You'd be like, oh, Dursil is a defensive style Beyblade. But I can't. That's actually might be the only Beyblade I remember off. Dragoons? Is that the name of the main dragon in the original Beyblade? I only remember Dursil because I had a Dursil Beyblade, which was like the green turtle dude. It was the kid with blonde hair with big glasses.
Yeah. But
his Beyblade was green and it was a turtle. You don't know? You never watched it?
Never watched Beyblade.
Never watched Beyblade.
No.
You're going to have to suffer then.
I think I will. Okay, I found the one toy I was trying to remember.
It is Dragoons, by the way.
It is
Dragoon
Dragoons?
is the main character's bit beast. I remember like combining that with like Dursil because Dursil was supposed to be a defensive style Beyblade, but then Dragoon is like attack. So I was like, oh yeah, this combination is perfect. Had Beyblade tournaments at like the summer camp me and my brothers used to go to.
Dang, okay.
Yeah, like where we had like the actual proper arena and kids would all bring in their Beyblades and we'd just do like best of threes. It was pretty cool. Pretty cool back in the day. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a spinning top.
It's true.
But boy, what is intelligent marketing to make it just an epic spinning top?
Oh, yeah, easily.
Like, oh, it's such a coolly designed spinning top. So much better than just spinning a top normally.
See, this was a toy that I was trying to remember, and I have like slight memories of it because I'm like a couple years younger than you. And it was based on a Japanese show that was called like Bomberman.
Bomberman.
Yeah, and then it was these little action figures that had marbles in the middle. And you press the marbles out, and they're called a Beat-A-Man.
Beat-A-Man. Yeah.
I could not think of the title.
Who's Bomberman then? Beat-A-Man was its actual show.
Beat-A-Man is a marble shooting show franchise produced in Japan. It was originally based on the Bomberman series.
Okay, it was based off the Bomberman series. Okay. Yeah, Beat-A-Man, we were going to get there. Don't worry, brother.
Well, I'm just thinking of like
the customizability.
And I was like, oh, you know what? That reminded me of this toy. I could not remember.
Yeah, Beat-A-Man, the thing was, Beat-A-Man was huge, but the fall off was crazy.
It just overnight, I swear.
Yeah, like if you compare it to Beyblade, who still exists.
Think they still make.
No, I don't. Maybe in Japan.
Maybe.
But yeah, and the Beat-A-Man, you're not wrong. Equal to the Beyblade in terms of you could make a Beat-A-Man from scratch out of a whole bunch of other ones. And they did a really good job of integrating, this Beat-A-Man has this one thing that gives you better control, like wings on the back. But you could add those wings easily to one that had like the little accuracy thing that went to the front. I always remember from the anime, there was they were twins who would combine their Beat-A-Man into, it was like they had two dragons.
Yeah.
And they combined it to make like the ultimate Beat-A-Man. But only difference was one of their dragons had like a snout that made the marble go more accurate.
Makes sense.
And the other one had like a feeder. So you could hold more marbles at the top.
Dang.
But you would combine them and then they would have both. And that was definitely very epic. I remember one of the Beat-A-Man I had was this white and kind of looked like a knight. Mm-hmm. And it had like two forms where you could either have like the back wings up.
Okay.
And that was like control form or like power form, or you could switch the wings down so they were easier to hold and maneuver the Beat-A-Man. That was really cool. The other thing they did really well with Beat-A-Man was they had all the different games. Yeah. Where it was like, there was like kind of like bowling, there was accuracy, there was power, like the bowling was related. But then they also sold the ones which was big on the show. This was a big game on the show, was the 1v1.
Yeah.
Where you'd have to hit it and the barrel would close. Those were separately designed Beat-A-Man, because unlike in the show, you can't just have your Beat-A-Man and make it one of those ones. You had to buy it separately. But I remember my friends had like the arena with all of the different games you could play. They had like the 1v1 style ones.
That's crazy.
It was a very fun, cool thing. Marbles probably everywhere in people's houses from those.
Because of that, yeah.
But they were very cool designs. But like we said, those ones, it felt like overnight were gone.
Oh, definitely. I feel like it was everyone brought them to school one day, and then they were gone the next. Like,
and the next big fad was Bakuman. Bakugan?
Bakugan.
Right. For the anime of the month right now. Or not in the anime of the month for us, but the anime club for me and my friends that are watching. We watch an anime once a week. We'll watch a couple episodes of anime that we're watching Bakuman. But Bakugan Battle Brawlers was the next big toy, if you will. And they were cool.
I thought it was neat because you'd be in this little ball and you'd have to roll it or like toss it onto the card, and you had to get the
magnetic card.
And it
would pop open. That was cool. The popping open was cool. The actual game was shite.
Never played the actual card game.
Yeah, the actual card game was shite.
I was one of those kids that had like 2 or 3 and just traded them.
Okay, so for us, I was starting already like aging out where I like didn't really watch the anime, but my brothers had the toys, and I was like, those are kind of cool. But then I remember I tried to play the game with my brother, and we're like, no, this game. And at this time, obviously, we're still playing Yu-Gi-Oh or Pokemon.
Yeah,
and we're like, this is like we should just play Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh. Like that's how bad it was in comparison for gameplay design.
Yikes!
But the toys were cool.
The toys were there,
and they still make them.
They're still making them now.
Because we for fun went to a Toys R Us that is open in Canada,
and they still had a big selection.
And they have some big ones, mega ones.
Fell down.
Why is your mic falling down?
I don't know.
But yeah, they had some chonkers.
I think we're good. Sorry. Yeah, they had some chonkers.
They did have some chonky ones. But yeah, that's. I feel like a majority. I don't remember there being any Zatch Bell related.
I had some Zatch Bell trading cards, but again, it wasn't big. I think otherwise for shows,
I'm sure they sell like the puppets, if you will.
Yeah, probably.
But I don't recall any of my friends having it.
The other big, I think, toys, like, did you any action figures at all?
Tons of action figures.
For what fandom, genre, etc.?
We had... I'm going to pile this. I had 2 younger brothers, so I'm just piling all of our stuff together.
That's fair.
Rescue Heroes.
Yep.
Had a ton of Rescue Heroes, including like the Watchtower, the Jet.
Nice.
We had like a Captain America, no idea what line. His shield would actually launch, and it had like a magnetic thing that would fit back on. Like he was holding this little piece of plastic that had a magnet, so the shield would hold back on.
Nice.
We had a Iron Man, a Spider-Man, probably more than one Spider-Man, Green Goblin.
Nice.
A lot of classics. Batman, things you would kind of expect. We also had some Star Wars kind of action. They weren't really as much action figures. It was more like, I don't even know what material they were, to be honest. I'm sure it was some form of plastic.
Okay.
But they were like, what is the name of? I want to say it's from number 1. The little droids that were also ships, and they would like land, and like they would land, and then they would switch their like wings to feet.
Yeah.
We had those. Don't recall what they're called. We also had the spaceship that Anakin in episode 1 drives in, the yellow one.
Yep.
We had one of those. That one's epic. I think that
I had one of those as well.
I think that shape and style was cool. Obviously, we had a lot of Hot Wheels also.
Of course.
Trying to Star Wars. What else? We had from episode 1 the droid holder. I don't know what to call it. Like the big brown truck thing that like launched the droids on the ground when they were like setting up for the battle, and it like extended out, and then the droids were all like folded in, and they would put them down.
Okay, yeah.
We have a lot of episode 1 related stuff because obviously, like when
that was like the big movie.
Growing up, like those were the. I think we had 2 Droidicas.
Okay.
Which I always thought the Droidicas were sick. Maybe it's also like nostalgia. Plus, I was a kid and I was like, wow, that was so cool because it rolled.
Yeah.
And then it opened up and had a shield. And I was like, that is so cool. So much cooler than those stupid droids.
Idiots. Yeah.
Never had a lightsaber. My mom didn't like weapons.
Too much violence. Yeah.
She wasn't a big weapon fan. So we didn't really ever have like guns, fake guns. We never had real guns. No lightsabers, swords.
It's okay. I got my first lightsaber like 10 years ago.
Yeah. So. Still don't have one. Maybe one day. It'll be a nice.
Have you seen the lightsaber I have?
I don't think I have.
I'll have to bring it over.
You'll have to bring it over.
Yeah.
So you can convince me to get a lightsaber.
Exactly.
And we won't battle. We're duel in the middle of the street as grown men.
Anyways.
I would love to have the Ahsoka from Clone Wars.
That'd be a sick one.
Like her 2 sabers. Like the little one in the... It'd be cool to have her current ones as well, but those ones specifically from the Clone Wars.
That's fair. For me, didn't have too many action figures. I had a lot of my brother's toys, but I couldn't really have too much time to play with toys when I was younger. I remember I had a Mighty Morphin Power Rangers action figure with like the middle piece, like switches your head to it being morphed and unmorphed kind of thing.
We didn't have too many Transformers.
I had one Transformer, and I still have it.
That's epic.
That is the only toy I have from my childhood, and I had to Google it quick. The name of it was the Cryo Scourge Cybertron figure, and it's a 3-headed dragon.
Really?
And there was a button on the back, and it made the big dragon head roar. Yeah, you have to go this. It's called Cryo Scourge Cybertron figure.
You'll have to put it up for people for later.
It was insane. But yeah, that is the only toy I really had from...
This one, I remember seeing a short. Have you ever seen shorts and they show like a show or something that you totally did not even remember existed, and then all of a sudden, like, core memory unlocked, where you're like,
yeah.
Big one for me that recently came was Mummies Alive.
Yep.
We had Mummies Alive's action figures.
Really?
And they were, for a kid, they were pretty cool because they had, like, I guess the best way to describe this, and I don't remember everything about the show, but you were following mummies who were fighting villainous Egyptian villains, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I remember it was almost like a Power Ranger level transformation where they like got their own like setup.
I remember this now.
And we had like, that's what they came with. It was like the mummy, but then we had like the one that was a hawk or an eagle, and they would have like a gold vest with wings and claws, and we had the snake one. But I could not tell you anything about this show, or if you were to be like, oh, Connor, what type of show? No idea. Until I saw a short that was like, things you might have watched. And then I was like, oh my God. I had to send it to my brother and be like, do you remember what? And he was like, no, I didn't remember, but now I do.
It's funny because I just Googled it, and just the tag, like not the tagline, but I'm reading about it, and it goes, the show was part of the general trend of mummy mania in the 1990s pop culture. Which, the more I think about it, is that when the Mummy came out? The Mummy came out, yeah. That's so funny.
But yeah, we had a good chunk of I think we had every one of the mummies. I mean, you'll have to put them up on screen, but yeah, I remember the Pharaoh. That was like the hawk was the cool one that I had, and had like removable claws, removable helmet, removable chest piece with wings, and a removable like feet. They weren't the best quality action figures in terms of, because this sounds really nerdy, but we're on the Nerdy Misfit podcast, so it's fine. Action figures that have elbow joints and knee joints.
Insane.
Those are some high quality, action figures. These were like the ones that they were in the set position. They had the shoulder pivot.
Yeah.
But they didn't.
The waist.
No waist either.
Yeah.
Just legs from the hip. No knee movement,
front back,
yeah. And then the same with the arms, just up and down, up and down.
That's crazy. I think the only other toys I can really think about is like it falls under the Lego brand.
We had tons of Lego, and nothing is more eye-opening to you as an adult and realizing how much you had than seeing the price of Lego and being like,
so
knowing you owned Lego and being like,
dang.
Because we had some sick Star Wars sets.
Jealous. I didn't have too many Legos growing up. I had Bionicles.
We had Bionicles too. Bionicle movie.
The Bionicle
The original, the Bionicle of Light. Was that the first?
I think so. Yeah, it was crazy. I remember with Bionicles too, they were easily, like, you could take you build them similar to Lego, but you'd be able to take the arms off and like,
you could
and stuff.
Fool around and change them around.
There was ones too that were more like, not frog, but that you could like push the button and the neck would come out.
Yeah,
like a snake. Then you'd open the case up and you could take like the mask out, because the whole Bionicle mask, there was like
lore.
I'm so tempted to go into the Bionicle lore just to like revisit it and see how like insane it actually was.
Yep.
But I haven't.
And the designs were good. They were cool.
Designs were neat.
And technically, elbow joints.
And
knee joints. And hip joints that moved all around.
They were very movable. You could throw them in a ball, take them full.
And those go along with the knights.
Yes.
Very similar style. Obviously, the Bionicles is like more of a made up creature and mythos, whereas obviously the knights are based off of knights. But it's very similar style design to those.
They're not still doing Bionicles and stuff, right?
I wouldn't know, brother.
Availability of Bionicles, 2001 to 2015. Sorry, 2001 to 2010. 2015, 2016. 2023.
They've made a resurgence.
So they've just... Apparently there is 452 Bionicle sets.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Which is kind of...
Did you play with Kinects?
I was a Kinects kid.
Kinects were dope.
I was a Kinects kid, and I had the marble, or like not the marble, but
no
like the
way,
magnets, the metal balls, and just.
We never had like that style.
I don't know what they're called, but
I don't even remember what we made with them, to be honest. I remember we had like a car, like a specific car, but other than that, it was just making whatever came to your mind. I think I made a lot of Wolverine claws.
Nice.
Like with the One Piece, I would just put like claws, and then I would just hold it, and I would have Wolverine claws.
I had the Ferris wheel for Kinects.
Oh,
because there was motors and stuff.
Yeah,
and you were able to do it. I had the roller coaster, because Kinects was a lot cheaper than Lego.
They're cool though.
But Kinects was great. I had a lot of fun with Kinects. Like you could build so much.
Lincoln Logs.
Oh, you talking about like the wooden blocks?
Yeah, exactly.
And you could build an entire like
cabin,
cottage
cottages,
area.
Yeah, those
I
ones
remember that. You could build like the trucks too.
So many cool building things for which makes sense because obviously like improving kids' dexterity. Because if you want to like say like something like Lego, for example, following instructions from the booklet, like it's definitely a very educational toy.
Mm-hmm.
Like those style, the building and the creative juices are flowing for imagination. Imagination is also very important as a kid when you're playing.
Crazy.
We also had the Mega Blocks dragons.
Okay.
Have you ever seen those sets?
I know of them. I never had them.
Those are probably the only cool Mega Block set ever. And I'm not just saying that because I love me some dragons, but that probably is why I'm saying that.
Now,
they were epic.
Was there one toy you wanted when growing up that you never got?
A lightsaber.
Oh, true. You did say a lightsaber. You're right.
In all honesty, it is probably a lightsaber. We also went to. I must come off as like the most spoiled person ever, but we did go to Disney a few times.
Dang.
And I remember wanting a lightsaber because there was a spot where you can.
Yeah.
Not as epic as it is now, but there was still a spot where you could build a lightsaber. And I wanted one so bad. And this was like the old cruddy lightsabers, like the ones that like squished into it, like, you know?
Yeah. The ones that you have to go.
Yeah, exactly.
See, the toy I want to grow up that I never had growing up was moon sand.
I never had moon sand.
I don't know what it was. I remember seeing those infomercials when I was younger.
Yeah, no, I know exactly
and
what you're
like
talking
for
about.
some reason I was like, that's really cool. Like I could just make colorful sand and they would all just like go into little like cookie cutter things. So I'm like, this is great. Never got it. But that's
Easy bake oven?
Never had an easy bake oven.
We never had an easy bake oven. We had this other weird thing, which was definitely needed like adult supervision when you used it. It was making your own. They weren't gummies to eat, but they were like these silicone / like plastic. But it was a kit to make bugs, and you would like have to cook the like silicone or whatever it was, and then it would set. And then it would pop up, and it was just like...
So, like, cooking Play-Doh?
No, it wasn't Play-Doh, though. It was like...
Kids gummy bug toy.
Yeah, that's probably a good way of looking up.
The Creepy Crawlers Alien Bug Creator Playset.
That sounds like it could be it. Or close to it. Maybe.
Oh, yeah.
And you would like cook
Just type in Creepy Crawlers.
Creepy Crawlers?
Yeah.
All right. And for you guys that are too lazy to look it up, Matt will definitely pop up some cursed stuff on your screen right now.
Yeah, Creepy Crawlers toy commercial 1992.
Okay, he won't play the commercial, but yeah, this is it. Obviously, some of these ones, I'm even seeing some on Amazon right now. Mm-hmm. Much newer looking, but that was like what it was.
Well, yeah, because the first thing you do when you type in Creepy Crawlers 1992, first thing that pops up, why did Creepy Crawlers get banned? The problem with the toy was that the oven got extremely hot and the liquid plastic was quite toxic.
Yeah.
I wonder why.
We never did it by ourselves. We always had one of our parents with us, but it's so funny. And I mean, probably so accurate for so many toys we probably had.
This apparently is crazy because it got discontinued in 1978, and then parents, when they grew up, wanted to bring it back, so they brought it back in 1992, and then it got destroyed again. What the heck?
Yep, this was it. Creepy Crawlers.
Also known as the Thing Maker, was a toy.
This is why I couldn't explain it well, because the Thing Maker, like...
The toy consists of a series of die-cast metal molds resembling various bug-like creatures in which is poured a liquid chemical substance called Plastigoop, which comes in assorted colors. The mold is then heated to about 390 degrees Fahrenheit or 199 degrees Celsius in an open-face electric hot plate oven. What the heck?
So you didn't have that, eh?
No.
No dice? Yeah.
Oh, in 1992, With much stricter safety regulations in place, the new version of the Creepy Crawlers set reintroduced the metal molds and earlier plastic goop type formulation, but now using a light bulb powered Magic Maker heater with a heat triggered door designed to remain closed until the mold had cooled significantly to be handled safely. The name Magic Maker, as well as the new oven design, were borrowed from an earlier 1980s era toy that melted clear colored plastics to form sun catcher window decorations. What the heck? There's glow-in-the-dark plastic goop, scented glamour goop, glitter glamour goop,
All just
stretch
as
plastic
healthy.
goop,
All is just healthy.
metallic
for you,
plastic goop, plastisteel. This is insane.
Yeah, and we didn't get into any of like the crazy. Like, did you have a Furby?
Never had a Furby.
Care Bear?
Never had a Care Bear. Furbies freaked me out as a child.
Yeah, I didn't have. My cousins had Furbies. Was not a fan.
This is really niche, but this for some reason this reminded me of a movie that has nostalgia for me called Small Soldiers.
Okay.
It was like the toys came alive, and there was like the army ones, and then there was like a weird like alien ones. And they tried to go back home. Do you know about this movie?
No.
Really young Kristen Dunst, I think, is in it. I'll show it to you after. But anyways,
Moon Shoes?
Moon Shoes? No.
Did you ever have the hit clips?
No.
We had a hit clip thing.
Don't even know what that is.
It was a speaker.
Okay.
Where you would put almost like, I would say, smaller than a DS cartridge into said little speaker.
Okay.
And it played like 20 seconds of a song. And that's all it did. And you would buy separate little ones and it would play 20 seconds of a song.
You know what I did have, though, was a Light-Brite.
Light-Brite. We had a Light-Brite. We had the Light-Brite Cube. Where you had 4 separate sides.
Dang, you fancy.
Actually, it was my brother's. But I'm sure we played. And kind of in a similar realm to the Light-Brite, we had a Etch-a-Sketch. Another creative tool, if you will.
I mean, I had like the spirographs. Like you put a pen in like the plastic circle and you just
those are cool.
Around.
Yeah.
Those are kind of nifty growing up.
Just looking through. There's obviously some old board games as well, like board games quotations here.
Hungry Hippos.
Hungry Hippos. Perfection.
Perfection.
I can't remember. Just looking at these.
Tech Deck fan.
What was the one where you would like use a hammer and you would knock in pieces? Thin Ice or maybe something like that?
Something like that. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Trouble. Sorry.
Mousetrap. Did you ever have a Poochie?
Excuse me?
A Poochie. It was the dog. It was like the
electric
weird
dog?
Robot dog, and it had like the thin.
I remember what you're saying. Never had one, but it was like a speaker, right? That you would plug your iPod or something into.
Yeah.
I remember what you're talking about. Didn't have one. My youngest brother had Webkins. I was too old at this point to get them, but he was big on Webkins. Were
you a Neopets kid?
Definitely a Neopets game. Like I loved playing the Neopets mini games.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
But yeah. Barrel Monkeys. We had Barrel Monkeys for sure. Connect 4. Some very classic stuff. Did you ever have, I guess this is where we can end, but this is a big one that even to this day, there's kids that potentially have them. The battery powered little cars that you could sit in and drive.
Oh, those. I never had one.
Never had one either.
I've wanted one.
Same.
I'm like,
I think that's high on the never got, but that was like a very
that'd
cool.
Be the dream, yeah. I often think about if they made like slightly more adult ones, but I'm like, oh, that's just an e-scooter, I guess.
Yeah, you may as well just buy like an e-bike or something. Yeah. But and we didn't even cover a ton. There's so many.
Yeah, there's so much more. Let us know if you guys want us to do another episode of this, like go into more niche things. Or
we can definitely talk more about
movie shows,
some niche or movie related stuff. We didn't even get into like something like a Mr. Potato Head, which actually my first Mr. Potato Head is one that you and a coworker have gotten me, which is Philo Ren. Who's still down here.
Amazing.
Yeah, but let us know what some of your favorite childhood toys were, both console as well as actual figures / anime toys, if you will. Did you ever have a Power Ranger? I'm not a big Power Ranger fan. What's it called? Morpher?
Yeah, the Morpher. Yeah.
Morpher or weapons. Like I said, no weapons here, so it wasn't any ever Power Ranger stuff here. But I thought the Morphers were always cool. But yeah, let us know. If you're new around here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And we post every Wednesday to YouTube and to any and all big podcast platforms. Hit a like there and drop a review on Apple Podcasts if you listen there. It does help the podcast out a lot, as well as a 5-star rating,
which we appreciate.
We do greatly appreciate. We hope to see you guys in the Discord, chatting around. Also, Anime of the Month this month, 91 days. Get watching it. The episode's going to be recorded a lot earlier than normal, so we would love if you guys can join us in watching it and give your 2 cents about it. So just a heads up to if you want to be included in the episode, that you got to watch it a little earlier this month.
Heck yeah.
Other than that, we'll see you guys next week.
All right.
Bye.
TNMP, the Nerdy Misfit Podcast. Don't forget to join the island by dropping a follow. Thank you, and see you next week.